Get ready.
What happened?
Okay, call to order the Lowell City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, July 20th at 7:00 even, right on time. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bennett.
Here.
Councilor Harris.
Here.
Councilor Stratus.
Present.
Councilor Grant.
Here.
Councilor Myers.
Here. Good to have us. Okay, stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up is agenda. Anybody have any changes or adds? Call anything, are we good?
Nothing for me.
Okay. Okay, next item up is the consent agenda. Approval of minutes for June 15th, approval of minutes for June 30th, minutes for July 1st, for July 6th, July 13th, financial report and check register. Any council member may request an item be removed. The consent agenda to be discussed as a first business item of the meeting. We have a request or we have a motion? Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Tim, second by John, to accept the consent agenda as read. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good. Moving right along. Public comments. Public isn't here tonight. Somebody want to call in? All? Anyone else? Okay, not hearing, not seeing. Okay, we'll move right along to any council comments if we have any. And next up would be staff reports. That's on page 78 of our packet for those who want to move ahead. Mr. Caller, you want to proceed with this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, city councilors, good evening. To give a brief update on major activities over the past month, we completed our city clerk recruitment. Our city clerk will be starting first thing tomorrow morning. Library renovation project, we held a second design workshop. He came by the architect, City Hall, the week before last to look at our storage needs. That's going to be something we're going to have to figure out. And he's working on that, working on final designs, working on cost estimates, and then we'll be having another workshop to provide some final direction to him. I've also updated the Ford Family Foundation on our progress. We're looking at a September timeframe to have this before their board, because that's when we'll have our cost estimates to them. Park renovation projects, I've started the pre-planning with our landscape architect that we hired in 2019, 2020, I believe it was, David Doherty. He has turned in a draft proposal for me of costs and other scope of services associated with the project, so we can start thinking about that. I have the archaeological report under other business, but I can go ahead and touch on that. I received some other consultants from Councilor Stratus. I received a proposal from one of those consultants that came in about $7,000 less than the one that I shared with you. I have turned that into the Oregon Parks Department so they can get feedback from the National Park Service and the local tribes to see if that scope is what they're looking for. Whenever I hear back from them that everything looks okay, I'll give that to you to consider so we can move forward with that.
That number is pretty in line with what I talked to two different individuals about, the $10,000 range.
So they thought that was
Yeah.
pretty high. They didn't tell me that.
Yeah, they said if you would like for me to show them the proposal, that they could kind of look at it and evaluate the newest proposal as well, so we would take them off.
Yeah, sure, I'll send it to you. That'd be great. And the Oregon Parks and Recreation, we're they first told me about this, they said typically, what we're trying to do is about $10,000. So that doesn't seem to be in line.
Yeah, the statement that was made to me is it's not the quality of the Oregon, University of Oregon services, it's the overhead involved with being a state of Oregon learning institution, that their overhead associated costs for labor are just more, they can't.
Oh, and that's why it was so high.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Yeah.
Oh, good, glad you got-
And I think also, you know, the other issue that was discussed is some of the consultants I passed on to Jeremy have done work in this area previous, so they might already have a blurb of background, so they don't have to do the background aspect of it as much. So,
Everything looks good from the National Park Service, the local tribes. I'll be giving that to you to consider. East Main Street property, you authorized me to sign a listing agreement with Campbell Commercial Real Estate. She turned that into me this afternoon. Shortly before the meeting, in fact, I haven't had a chance to look at it. If everything looks good, we can get moving on that. I've had numerous phone calls with her to strategize, come up with some, we're gonna ask for it, bring her up to speed on the county right-of-way issue. She's been talking to Ben to help us out with that, so she has hit the ground running on that. I've also talked to her about the North Highland property. She's working out some details with our engineer, so she's moving on that. And I've also talked to her about some other properties in the future, such as that edge of the Rolling Rock Park that we want to sell. So she's hit the ground running.
Awesome.
We have various committee meetings, Arts and Recreation Committee, they've started working on holiday decorations, hanging baskets, new Facebook page, we have got that up and running. It's my goal to be more proactive on putting content on that and engaging the public over the next year. We have some upcoming events, a car cruise this weekend, actually, and a quilt show also this weekend. And the movie nights in the park last Friday was a success. We had over 100 people showed up. Everybody had a great time. Couple other quick updates. The asbestos remediation on the East Main Street house was scheduled for today. I had to reschedule for tomorrow. The church pews, I keep trying to contact the guy who bought it. I think he's going to end up defaulting on that bid, and we're going to have to rebid it. Trying to get him out here. And so those are the main things. What questions do you have for me?
how do I go about, doing the payment for the decorations? So we kind of got a list of a good portion of things that we're gonna order from one of the vendors that John provided. But there'll probably end up being 2, 3, 4 different people that I have to pay for the various things. How do I go about doing that?
How much is your credit card?
Perfect idea. Perfect idea.
How much is it?
like that?
Right now, we're looking at about, for Temple, which was the main vendor, I haven't looked into the, like, probably like those cherries or Home Depot or something like that, local, and then a nursery for the live tree. But right now, we're looking at about 5,000 or 6,000 for the Temple order
Okay.
through the one online vendor.
At that purchasing threshold, I think it'd be a good idea to get that quote and bring it to city council for approval.
So what I'll need to do is contact them with the list and just reach out to one of the sales representatives.
Yep.
Right.
Yep, city council will approve it, and then we can place the order at City Hall and mail them a check or put it on our procurement card.
And on the architectural thing, thank you, Tim, for your direction and ideas on that.
Yeah.
That's quite a few dollars. That's almost pays for your poles and a few
That's
other
right.
things. Right there. The only thing I have is about the poles and that stuff at Christmas time. If we get into renovating the park and they're doing construction and stuff in there, are we going to be able to place those poles so that they can continue to do that? I wouldn't stop doing what you're doing because I don't know when that renovation is going to start.
Yeah.
But, we need to kind of back to the mind, say, okay, if they're gonna be running Caterpillars through there, that maybe we put the poles somehow along the road and, have them temporarily there, then move them back in later or something like that. Cause I'd still want the basket. I think it's a good idea and I think it looks good for the city, but just,
I think I can answer that question, based on our conversation with the landscape architect. His feeling as far as the, construction situation right now is we wouldn't get started with any work till spring.
okay,
next year.
that's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. So,
So just so you know that these, the device that we're gonna use to hang the baskets after we modify it and to hang the banners or decorations from is a banding device. So we should be able to get some extra banding device and just on-band them and have to reband them whenever we renegotiate the lights, or if we add other things, we should be able to utilize that same device to mount to others. Because I anticipate that we'll probably end up having more different, we'll probably reutilize the ones we've got, some, but pull the ones from the east end of the park, or reutilize those somewhere else on the path. But I think there'll be other lighting that ends up being, having the ability to be able to decorate as well in the future.
I think it's a great idea. I'm glad you're doing it and taking kind of the handle on that one. The other thing was, he forwarded an email that I sent to Kurt Wilson about the ideas about this building. If any of you have ideas also, make sure you send them to him, because what we want to do is we won't get Kurt as far as long as possible before we sit down and meet again. If you say, I don't like Don's idea about this, don't do that. Or better yet, I know that people are gonna have ideas that they saw on there that they said, why don't we? And I'd like to, if possible, if you've got ideas, get them to him early so he can get them to Kurt, and Kurt can include them in the next package he brings to us, because, it's gonna, I don't mind having 1, 2, 3 meetings, but when it gets up into 4, 5, and 6, then we said, well, I probably should have, we could have, or something like that. So if you got anything, send them to him and let Kurt look at it, and he can include it in the design or consider it at least. So that's the only thing you gotta say on
And
that.
I'll funnel his response to each of you, so everybody has the same information.
Max, do you know if these poles out here have any kind of outlets at the base of them?
Might be worth considering throwing a couple decorations up on the street side of poles at least.
But if not, we can hold that.
We'll look at that.
Anything else? Public Works, Mr. Baker,
All right, staying right here.
you're good right there.
Okay, perfect. Fairbanks Council, Public Report, like Joey said, it's pretty busy last month, just tried to capture the majority of things here, and then we'll talk about a few other things. Streets and parks, both the wells were tested, flow tested, that is, 4-hour test on Gorham Park and on the Paul Fisher Park. So the Paul Fisher Parks, were linked, like we thought they were, the 6 and 8 inch, so we're just gonna use the data off the 8 inch because it's the best option. That one actually got numbers for it, 17 gallons per minute. So not the best, but definitely something we can work with. One thing we might have to do is possibly put the largest stone we have into them. So I did pass the numbers on to ground landscape to the people who did the sprinkler work for us. So still waiting for the recommendation from John from Able Pump. He's going to recommend the system for us, whether it has a pressure tank or 2 pumps, a heat pump, and a pumping pump. So when we get to that point, we'll bring it back to you guys. I did increase the flow on sprinklers every day. Kind of just going to be a guess and check game for a little bit. It's not really any grass out there, but they know that it's been native for a very long time. So get the watering established, and then of course get with the counselor, get some fertilizer, and really make it look nice last year. We're starting pretty late in the year to be able to try to get the grass to come around for even natural growing stage, but they are up and working. You can definitely see the park spring versus the snow over here. So that's an update on that. One small thing here, we had it's not a small leak, we had a 5-gallon leak here, just past the meter before the pressure leak. We got that repaired. So nothing too major. Water treatment plant, last week was a good week. We installed 58 of those new meters with some shocking results. We'll go over that. I'll bring a report to you guys next council meeting. I spoke with CA a little bit today about it, but yeah, pretty impressive. So it was definitely time to start putting some new meters in. So I'll gather some data together, and I know the numbers guy, but gather some data together and kind of show you guys what we were, where we're at now. And of course, people more money by one, so it'd be a big old perfect survey. So yeah, going very well. We ordered that 100, last couple months ago. Staff really hunkered down. We've been dealing with some other issues you guys know about. We had 3 good solid days. One day we put in 25 meters in about 2.5 hours. It's pretty good. So, yeah. Then working with Cassell, I'm trying to finalize the backflow program. We bought the module for Cassell for backflow tracking. We are getting to have quite a few number of backflows in the city. So this not only will it track it, give us the reminders to get to people, but it will also include the opt-in, opt-out program that we brought to you guys for approval. So that program is currently going. We were hoping to get the first letter out by the end of this month, just to help, get people thinking of everything. Looks like it's probably gonna be early next month, but we are working on that, so that's good. Kickoff meeting for the water master plan, water management plan, and water conservation plan is tomorrow with the water plant, so it's exciting for everybody involved there. It'll be a big, huge project. All of Civil West staff will be here. Myself, my staff, for me. It'll be a big thing. You guys will see them a lot in town. They've been here for about the last 2 weeks doing the water valves and sewer house.
By my
They were in
house.
front of Gail's house. So, very involved. They're getting true, accurate numbers. So, with the GPS probe, they're getting flow data on sewer manholes, rim elevations and everything, stuff we've never had since I worked here. So, all very good stuff. Of course, it's just to help build the plan. Tracer study was completed. We actually only ended up doing 2 of the values, so the scope's gonna come in a little less than what we originally came to you guys with. Still waiting on approval for the state. Our regulator unfortunately had some personal issues to deal with, so as soon as he gets back to the school for that. So that's good. We were able to maintain 200 gallons per minute and meet the required CT time, so that's a 25% increase from what we normally pump. So that's a pretty good number. Yeah, a very good number. Any questions on anything with the water plant? Okay, wastewater plant. As everybody knows, we had a scheduled outage on the 10th from electric. And as you guys also already know, we had all of the generators have their annual tests. Very involved, very expensive. It's a full day, load test and everything checked out, and then the power went down and the generator still might not work. So yeah, so of course we had Peterson out here, and it was just bad timing. We lost the regulator and a few other things, so went back and forth contemplating with Jeremy whether to repair it or not. It's a $4,000 repair. We went ahead and ordered the parts yesterday because in the short term we're paying for rental to be here. And I think it's smart just to get this fixed up and running, get rid of the rental, it's very expensive, and then look at our options. If we're gonna fix it later, at least it's a working unit. If we're to resell it, we can still recoup it, as opposed to a unit that doesn't work, that we're not gonna put back. Just got rid of 2 of those at the sewer plant, so we scrapped them. So we have a temporary unit here, automatically kicks on, so we're good on with that. Code enforcement, the city officially has a signed coding contract. This is a couple weeks old, but I'm gonna update you guys on it. And of course, we used it. First day we had a sign. We got rid of the problem vehicle that everybody knows about that was on Northwood Drive. That was a nightmare. I mean, the city of Springfield police was calling me, Lane County was calling me, state police sent me an email. But we finally got it taken care of. It's pretty nice. It was called in and they came and got it, same day we called. Very good. I did talk to Neil. Neil does have authorization to tow, since he does our tagging anyway. And that would be like the emergency or something like that. Chief Floyd does authority to tow if it's traffic hazard or safety hazard. Most stuff will either come from myself, my staff, or Jeremy. So, but yeah, that's a good thing. A few other things just to update you guys that I didn't get a chance to put on here. One thing I want to say is the moving the park thing was definitely a success. I was blown away. I've never been at one. I've always helped set them up and everything. And we got people from everywhere. Pleasant Hill, Lowell. There was people from Oak Ridge. There's people from Springfield. And it was just really cool to see that, to see people. We had people that had moved away from Lowell that came back with their families to watch it. So very cool. Just it was a good thing to be a part of. It really was.
On that note, I'm sorry for interrupting,
Yeah, no
Max. I'd just like to give a shout out to Joyce. Because she put it together, she headed it up, she didn't have to, she did it because she wanted to. and Max helped her get everything set up. So, give a shout out to both of them.
It was fun. It was definitely a good thing.
So when are we doing it, I?
So there's another one, the next one in August. I'll make sure you get that. Yeah.
Oh.
And then one other thing, just to piggyback off what Jeremy was saying about the car show and the cruise, it's just an update, because I was just informed. There is several other events going on that same day. The school is gonna have, a cobbler thing, and, there's a few other things going on, there's gonna be another car wash. So Saturday's gonna be happening twice, on Main Street, it's gonna be pretty popular, so.
I heard you're skipping town.
That's the plan, we'll see what happens, family stuff, I hope to, it's my 18th wedding anniversary, so that's the plan. So, I didn't want to make any commitments on traffic. So yeah, that's all I had, unless you guys have any questions.
You said they, flow for Paul Fisher Park. You said they tested, Rolling Rock. Did they get a flow on that?
They did, I didn't have the numbers, I have them now, but I have an email somewhere.
Is it gonna be too low to, run an irrigation
It's
system
not
out of that?
gonna be too low to run an irrigation system, we could definitely run an irrigation system, it's just gonna be a lot of zones.
A
And
bigger
so-
manifold. more
Yeah.
solar
Yeah,
noise.
but that probably wouldn't make sense, because like right now, we should be watering twice a day. If you want green manicure lawns, like people know, like Nick, you water, before sunlight and you water right at the end of the day, you get a beautiful yard. Well, the problem with having, let's say 30 zones, you did 15 minutes per zone, we do the math, that's a big chunk of the day, you're already in the daylight regardless which way you look at it. So, but there's other options. One of the options he brought up was, you pump it to a holding tank and a pressure tank, and then you pump it from the pressure tank. So even if it was only 12 gallons a minute, but your system using 20, you have that buffer in the tank. So they're gonna try to help us out the best they can between John from Middle Pump and from Graham Landscape, who were the ones that originally gave us the scope of work over there on that. So,
I think a tank behind the, amphitheater would be a great thing.
yeah, well, we have room, we have a lot of options. We could put something in the ground you've never seen, ground bolt, like a big electric ground bolt, just for maintenance and access. The good thing is we're getting ready to do a project there, so this would be the perfect time to not have it be an eyesore. Or if it is something that is visible, you just make it part of the park.
That's what I was gonna say, you could design some kind of landscape feature around
That's
the
right.
tank. I personally
Put a
think an
wall
above ground
in it.
tank is easier for maintenance.
For maintenance, much easier. Yeah, because if you find yourself on the ground, you call somebody else, like, oh, it's gonna actually this much, just do that.
Just, if you ever have to do anything to it, it's dang near impossible.
But we might not have to go that option. So we'll see. We'll weigh the options, and, it still might be a cheaper option just to look at, maybe upside. So when we get to that point, when you provide the information, we'll definitely bring it to you guys.
Well, it's much shallower, right, than these wells,
Yeah, 'cause it was a
and
residential
it's probably on the same aquifer, so would these tend to draw down, or that
So
much?
these
Does
over
that matter?
here were 371 feet deep, that 6 inches tied together, where this one's only 76 feet deep. And this is a 4-inch residential.
Yeah.
Drilled very, very long time ago. That's an 8 and a 6 drilled in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
It is different water aquifers. though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because of the way that it flows off the mountain. But yeah, we got some things to look at, definitely a little bit more homework to do that, but it can definitely happen.
Congratulations on the.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions, from Max or anything like that? Next up is the, police log. I see 53 hours. I know we only pay for 40, but, we'll take the extra hours. And it was good to see Neil that the, choice is going away, so. Okay. No old business. First thing up for new business, consideration of resolution 768, resolution extending the effective dates of resolution 756 to establish utility assistance program. Mr. Cottle, you want to speak to this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In 2020, the city council adopted this program in response to COVID and the economic downturn at the time. The idea being to have a program to help out economically disadvantaged residents. This program was renewed through June 30 of this year, so it is currently expired. If this is something that we want to continue, we need to have it approved because utility bills are going to be going out this month soon. We have for customers who are currently enrolled in it, that's the most it's ever been enrolled in this program. They have to turn in some kind of proof that they meet the income level that's on the table on the following page. This table is from the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. It's based on household size. So they have to turn in a W-2 or something from a welfare agency that attests to their income level and household size. So I put this on here for your discussion and possible action if you wish to continue this program.
I absolutely think we should consider, extending this program.
I
I
know
think the
it's
cost to the city is minimal and the benefit to those poor families.
I was just gonna say, it doesn't matter if it's only 4 families.
And I think also from what Max is saying, that the meter readings on some of these, I'm gonna take it, are gonna be larger than what people have been having in the past. It may, some people that were in this group may well be calling City Hall and saying things. And if we say that we have an option for the low income people, I think that would be to our advantage. So it'll help whoever's fielding those phone calls.
I don't know who that'll be.
It give them an out.
That is the thing she's good at, you know, is
Yeah.
doing the
But anyway, I think it's a good thing to continue. Like I say, there's only 4 right now.
I feel the program is
I
underutilized and-
think it's not.
I can't believe there's only 4 people on it.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's drastically, the income threshold is pretty understanding to people's situations. And I feel, to be real honest with you, looking at those numbers, I would guess that we could hit in the neighborhood of 40% to 60% of the city could probably meet the thresholds.
What's our
So,
hanger, what is the door hanger thing? What is the percentage of that for people who are not able to meet it but aren't on this program? Do we have a number, the ones who default on their bills or whatever, is that a huge amount of people?
If we have a lot of delinquent accounts,
Yeah.
can you speak to that next?
Yeah, so as far as for the program, there wouldn't be a good representation because, for example, I've been there many times.
Well,
But without having the income verification, that's the biggest thing. I was gonna ask for a second to speak on this. I think it's an excellent program. I know you guys all agree. Almost every municipality offers it. One thing I'd say is maybe we just make it a permanent part of our program. It's got very good guidelines, it's income based. You guys can tell it's not taking advantage of poor people. I think when we originally put this in, we threw some rough numbers to you guys, we thought it'd be closer to 20, just basing on, we don't know what people make, but just basing it on looking at utility bills. But yeah, that's a hard comparison, Sam, if you go anywhere.
but I mean, there's inconsistent
There is.
issues, and there's more than 4 consistent issues.
There is.
Are we offering information involving this program each time we do a door hanger or late? So to somebody, are we including that verbiage on this? Because I don't think I've seen any on mine. I'm not eligible for the program.
I don't believe, the only way that, so it was advertised on Facebook initially, then of course there's information up at City Hall, and then the city clerk has been pretty good about word of mouth, city clerk position. We have a lot of people in town, but we only have, 497 utility accounts. It's a very close, intimate relationship with most people also. Usually it's something that's offered with, yeah, I agree.
I think if we made up a separate form that got put in the mailer with it, not necessarily put it in like generated by the cell, but if we just had a separate one, we just did a blurb on Word or something and slapped another piece of paper in there with it, informing people.
I was
on this
gonna
program.
say, is it under advertised?
We
In
could,
terms of people don't know
many times
exactly.
we put a piece of letter or a piece of paper or a brochure attached to it or that might be a good way to advertise it, I mean, obviously, take the people that, like I said, we know a lot of people here, those are pretty high income requirements to make. I'm not saying there's people that don't need it, because there is, but yeah, that's not a bad way to advertise it, because not everybody has Facebook, not everybody looks at the city webpage, and then to be honest with you, a lot of people, they don't want other people, and that's the biggest thing. I was very thankful like that, you just embarrassed. So, it's very discreet when it's done through with the city clerk position, because they can kind of have that still in the privacy. But yeah, I think it definitely would be a
So utility bills go out next week. I'd be happy to draw up a flyer advertising this program and encouraging people to apply if that's something that you'd like to see.
Consensus on that.
Okay.
So I don't know about making it permanent yet, but I think this time, maybe we give it we've been doing 6 months at a time this time, I think is what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe extend that period to a year for this time and then see how it goes and see what the numbers look like
Yeah,
after we
see how that
advertise a little bit more.
Make sure we can. So what do we need to do here?
So like, a resolution to extend the effective dates of resolution 756 to establish a utility assistance program, extending the dates to August 1st of 2022.
Or June 30th. How about that?
The resolution already has a
Through June 30th.
a date on there, so all we would need is a motion to approve resolution 768.
Okay.
Oh, they already did it.
I'd like a motion to adopt resolution.
Amend 768.
To approve resolution 768.
I'll second.
Okay, you already had that in there.
Yeah.
I finally read down to the bottom. Okay, Tim, made the motion and Gail seconded. Motion, a resolution extending the effective dates of resolution 756 to establish a utility assistance program. Any further discussion or questions or thoughts for anybody? Not hearing, not seeing, all those in favor of resolution 768, a resolution extending the effective dates of resolution 756 to establish a utility assistance program, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Connell. You have the other business, you had an update on archaeological report, but you already gave that, right? That had already been included, okay. Mayor comments. I saw a beaver down at the water plant the other morning. Yeah. I saw I'm sure it's a peregrine falcon flying today, circling around, going around. So I was doing my nature thing, part of my watershed council thing. But that was pretty far. Usually the beaver stays up by the dam, but he was up right there at the landing.
Really?
Yeah, he got only about 20 feet out in the water.
You know, that makes me think last year when I was walking down by the dam, there was a dead beaver on the side. I was surprised at that because I thought, why are they up on the road? I'm assuming he got hit. But I thought,
they
why
wander
is he
around.
going across the road?
Getting all of this.
It must be, yeah. Anyway.
I've seen river otter out there too, so there's some things out there in that lake besides fish. Anything else? Community comments, anything, public comments, anything. Okay, not hearing, not seeing. In that case, we're adjourned at 7:34.
Well, that's gotta be the shortest meeting we've seen.
That
in a
is
long
fantastic.
time.
You can drag this out.
Thank you.
I even included beavers and ospreys and otters in it to get it longer.